I am.
Henry the Eighth, I am.
Henry the First, I am.
I got married. She wasn't a widow yet.
He's been married
No other times before.
never before. If you don't know that song, it's probably not funny.
Yeah, that's true. But if you do know that song, please leave a comment below, and I should be in a French accent.
French accent.
Henry the Eighth, I am. Only
The what?
the on.
Henri the Premier.
Ew, can you do it in French?
Henri le Premier.
No, the song.
Oh, you. Henri le Premier, je suis. Henri le Premier, je suis. Oh no, can't go past that.
That's it. Done. The point is Henry VIII, the song. However, this is Henry the First of France, not of England.
Yes, the first, not the eighth, and of France, not England. Last week we talked about
Robert II of France. And FYI, his first wife, his father set up, and she was many, many years older than him.
That's right. Very similar to Henry VIII.
And he divorced her as soon as he possibly could.
As soon as Daddy died.
When Dad died, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then he married his second cousin, but the Pope was not having any of that.
Second? Really, back then?
Yeah, even second. Yep. So that marriage ended up being annulled because the Pope didn't accept it. And he had to take on a third wife.
Really annulled? It's like it never existed if the Pope didn't accept it.
Yeah, that's true. So he took on his third wife, which was Constance of Arles. And she was a bit headstrong and really wanted some political gains. And one of Robert's buds was trying to warn him and be like, hey, you should probably look out for Constance. She's kind of cuckoo.
Cuckoo.
And then he ended up murdered.
Yowza.
So when Robert II tried to get that marriage taken care of, the Pope wouldn't have it.
3 strikes, you're out, buddy.
Yep. That's it. You got to stick with her. Stuck with her.
Yeah,
So together they had 3 boys and a few girls, but really the boys are what's important today.
I'll be.
Yeah. He did die in battle while his sons were rebelling against him.
And then the oldest son died, right? Because Henry is not the oldest.
Yep. So welcome to episode 31, Henry the First of the House of Capet.
Mm-hmm.
Of the Capetian...
House of Capet, the Capetian Dynasty.
Fantastic.
Henry the First, the second son of Robert the France and his third wife. Born May 4th of 1008. We have officially cracked the 2nd century. Is that how that works?
I don't know.
You always know.
I used to know. My brain doesn't work anymore now that I'm pregnant.
The thousands.
I don't know.
The 0 to 1000 is the 1st century. So the 1000 to 2000.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Because we're in the
century is 100
21st
years.
Century, but it's the 2000s.
Yeah. Nope. That's a millennia. We're in the 2nd millennia. Century is 100.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
You like how long that took to click?
I was like, yeah, this is what it is. And then you agreed with me. And then I was like, no. Anywho, we're in the 4 digits. So during Henry's reign, France actually reached the smallest size ever. During his reign, France was very small.
Tiny.
Very small indeed.
He lost lots of power.
Lots of places, lots of power.
As I just alluded to, he was the middle brother. By I mean Caitlin mostly. His older brother, Hugh Magnus, died in 1025 when he was about 18 years old because he fell off of a horse. And it is very likely while they were planning their brotherly rebellion against their father, Robert II of France. Mostly because of his piousness, everybody hated him. And also because he kept remarrying. And then, you know, the wife he stuck with was very active and opinionated and murderous.
The dad.
Yes.
Robert.
Yes. The father of the three boys. So, oldest brother, Hugh Magnus, dies, and everything goes to Henry, becoming Henry I. And his younger brother is Robert, who is eventually known as Robert the Old or Robert the Headstrong. So, as I just said, their father was not very well liked. And his piousness afforded him a whole bunch of enemies. So Henry and his brothers rebelled against their father in 1025. Basically, right after their oldest brother, Hugh Magnus, died. And the rebellion was, bam, kicked off. Like, everybody's ready to go. Tired of dad screwing everything up. And his father tried to ease the rebellion by co-kinging Henry in 1027, just 2 years after the rebellion started. So it took him a while to try to make peace. And when he was crowned, it was May 14th at the Cathedral of Rheims. However, this co-kinglyship didn't really afford him much power, and sprinkle in the little fact that his mom, Constance, really favored his youngest brother, Robert, over Henry. She wanted Robert to be the king and not Henry. One of those.
The youngest?
Mm-hmm. One of those youngest syndromes where everybody knows it's the favorite.
Yeah, but like it's not a thing, so.
It's a thing.
Well, no. Like, it's not a thing that the youngest gets to rule, so.
Oh, no. I was talking about the favoritism.
Yeah.
Everybody knows your parents, they have a favorite child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just don't talk about it.
Oh. My brother and I go back and forth. We know who's on top at what time. We just look at each other. Why don't you ask them that? Because we both know you're today's favorite.
Mm-hmm. Ours is situational. Like, if you need a calm, understanding hand.
Into the mic.
If you need a calm, understanding hand, you go to my sister.
So what do they go to you for?
I don't know. Humor. Rebellion.
Yawn. Rebellion. Oh, are you the one that's usurping your father?
Rebellion.
Nice. So when his father did die, Robert II, King of France, previous episode, episode 30.
Fell off a horse or something, right?
Mm-hmm. In the middle of the rebellion, I believe. That left Henry I to become the king of all Francia.
Mm-hmm.
However, he was still stuck with that brother and mom who did not like him very much. So in order to obtain any form of peace, he gave his brother the Duchy of Burgundy, which was actually Henry's when it was like bestowed upon him as being the second oldest.
Mm-hmm.
So he gave it away, which is probably what shrank Francia in the first place. One of the reasons.
Breaking it up.
Mm-hmm. So he gave the duchy away to his younger brother, making Robert the Duke of Burgundy, also known as Robert I, Duke of Burgundy.
So somewhere during this time before you...
I go back?
Yeah.
There you go.
So somewhere during all of this, Henry becomes betrothed to a woman named Matilda. She was the daughter of Conrad II, the Holy Roman Emperor. But she just suddenly died in 1034.
Did she?
Yeah. So then he decides to marry Matilda of Frisia, like easier to remember the name if I don't change it. So marries Matilda.
Well, at least that way when you're arguing, you're never yelling at the wrong name.
Never say the wrong name. Yeah.
Mark.
But apparently she ends up pregnant, and then they give her a C-section. Didn't know C-section was a thing in the thousands.
That's upsetting.
Don't know, like there are no painkillers.
It sounds
Painful.
That couldn't have ended well.
Like I feel like they knew she wasn't going to survive it, right?
Yeah, but they're just trying to get the baby out.
Don't know.
Yikes.
Neither of them survived.
Yeah, I can't imagine how they could.
Don't know. Anyway, so he then decides to look further out for a wife, maybe not named Matilda.
Good call.
And he marries Anne of Kiev, which I believe is in current-day Ukraine.
It is Ukraine and Russia and some other Slavic stuff.
Okay.
They all claim heritage to the Kiev Rus, R-U-S.
Okay. So Kiev, they married on 19th of May, 1051. And they did have 4 children. Philip I, who we will talk about next week, Emma, Robert, and Hugh the Great of Vermandois. Anyway.
So real quick, I'd like to tell you a little bit about Robert I, Duke of Burgundy. He didn't have a very good reputation. So if the rebelliousness wasn't a hint already, let me share with you that he was known to be little more than a robber baron. Which
baron.
Yeah. Which is basically that in the title. Like, he's thieving everything.
Robber, but he's also a baron?
Yep. So it basically means he was authoritarian leadership and heavily taxed all of the serfs. And he even went so far as to plunder their homes and the churches within his region. Mm-hmm. Mine. Knock, knock, knock. Mine. Look, I'm taking the door.
Like the birds on
Yes, Finding Nemo?
Mine. Yes. Mine.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
He even repudiated his wife, meaning he disowned her, after her brother was assassinated.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry about your bad luck. I am also disowning you now that your brother is dead.
Look, I know you're grieving and all.
Inconvenient for me.
But this really doesn't look good for me. Also, it looks really bad because I'm about to go murder your father. So we're done here.
I'm out.
That actually happened. He murdered her father.
That conversation happened.
Yeah. To the T. His violence was so well known that a bishop refused to dedicate a church to him.
Application declined. You are too violent.
No, sir. We don't need you here.
We don't accept your kind.
I will say, that is a very brave bishop.
Right? You're so violent, but I'm still going to be like, not dedicating anything to you.
No.
I'll risk it.
So getting back to our actual king we're talking about, Henry I, he made some pretty savvy political moves and rescued his young nephew, William.
From?
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just in a general rescuing sense.
William at this time was like the Duke / King of Normandy because Normandy's basically separated itself from Francia. Remember, Rollo is the one that founded it, land of the Northmen.
Okay.
And William will later become William the Conqueror over England.
William the English king.
Mm-hmm.
William the Conqueror.
Yes, so William eventually gave up trying to take over Brittany and moved over to England. Like Brittany, that little coast off the side of France.
Brittany.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the whole reason he tried to save him was to get like political advantage. Yeah. It didn't work out because the Normandy people don't care for that Frankish rule at all.
Got it.
So in 1048, he met up with the king of Italy, also a Henry. And the two Henrys met up about 3 times total. And on the second time they met up, they signed a treaty of friendship.
Have we signed a treaty of friendship?
I was going to say, I feel like it's friendship bracelets. Or like those
We've
necklaces.
Never had friend. Oh, well.
The heart.
Do we have one?
Broken. The broken heart thing. Like it said best and then friends.
You and I had one?
No.
Oh.
Have you ever had one?
Yeah, I just meant with us.
Oh. Well, we have our brain and
yeah, but those
Sassy.
are friendship bracelets.
They kind of are. We should get a friendship bracelet. Leave
Get a
your comment
friendship
below if you think that
tattoo.
we ought to have friendship something. A tattoo, a bracelet, a necklace.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
those all range on the same level.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But later when they met for the third and final time, Henry of Francia accused Henry of Italy of violating the conditions and walked out on negotiations.
Pouting. Oh, no.
He was really upset.
Ew.
And Henry died.
Yes, he did die on the 4th of August of 1060 in Vitry, France. And he was interred where?
Basilica of Saint-Denis.
Basilica du Saint-Denis.
Oh.
With every other king. Not really, but yeah.
Most.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was succeeded by his son, Philip, who we mentioned earlier. She is Henry's son with the Queen Eve. Who named her? Her name is Anne.
Yes.
Anne of Kiev,
Mm-hmm.
who ruled as a regent with him. He was 8.
Yep.
7.
Mm-hmm.
When his father died. So he was in the midst of besieging Timor, which had been occupied by the Normans since 1058. So he kind of left that for Henry and Anne to clean up. So tune in next week to hear all about Philip and Anne and where they go from here.
Yep. And up next is our relevant tidbit. Happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween.
In case we didn't say that already, which we didn't.
We didn't.
This week we are talking about the medieval Halloweens, the history of Halloween. You can check out this article from discovermedievalages.co.uk, the history of Halloween. And it was written by Medieval Steward. And we will leave the link in the bio for you guys to check out the full article because these are only a couple excerpts of the excerpts. Yeah. All right.
Okay. The history, might you move it, of Halloween goes back as far as the 8th century for Christians. Pope Gregory III chose the 1st of November as a day to honor all the saints, or the Hallows. Did you know saints were called Hallows?
I did not. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Me neither. And martyrs who did not have a specific day of their own. This would therefore be known as All Saints' Day. The night before All Saints' Day was known as All Hallows' Eve. Over the years, All Hallows' Eve eventually merged from tongue to tongue into Halloween, or correctly, Halloween. 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 The first tradition is the Christian celebration of All Saints' Day on the 1st of November, and the vigil held the night before by Christian priests on All Hallows' Eve. During the medieval ages, it was a time to pray for the dead. There is no evidence that the 31st of October, also known as today's Halloween, was anything but a normal day during medieval times. The second tradition is the Celtic, pagan, mainly Irish, festival of Samhain. This celebrates the end of summer, or the end of the Celtic spiritual year, the harvest and the beginning of winter. Only darkness, the cold, and possibly death would follow until spring. It was also a time when the Celts believed the line between life and death was at its closest, where ghostly souls could return from the dead.
Ooh.
Until the Victorian era, these two traditions continued in their own right. However, since the Victorian times, these two traditions seem to have merged together a little, and the Christian Halloween has absorbed some of the darker aspects of the Celtic Samhain. This seems to be why today we have these spooky festivals on Halloween.
Is that the end?
I was going to read the bottom.
Oh, we did that.
Okay.
Or you can read it.
Nah.
All right.
Okay. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. And real quick, we do want to share with you some updates.
Yes, so we're starting the countdown today, the official countdown. Today's episode 31, and our last episode as Monarchs of Francia
Yes.
will be episode 35. So 4 more after this one. And then we will be officially ending what we are calling season 1. You remember a couple weeks ago we announced all about Bebe and Clarissa's Bebe. And we talked a little bit about changes. So what we're actually going to do is cut off our season 1 at the end of Francia. So after episode 35, we will officially be in the Monarchs of France and not Francia. So we're going to end our season 1. The last episode you'll have from us is just before Thanksgiving. And then tune in first or second week of January, and we'll have a whole new season 2 ready for you to tune in.
But fear not, we are not leaving you alone throughout December.
No, we have a very special 12 days of Christmas planned. So you will see our pretty faces every day for 12 days.
For 12 whole days.
12 whole days. So please tune in.
Plus our regular story for December 1st and our regular story for January 1st. So there's still a lot of stuff coming at you before we start season 2 of Royal Malarkey.
Yep, for sure.
So thanks for listening, guys. You can check us out at royalmalarkey.com and make sure you look for our Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Yes. If you're hopefully watching us on YouTube, you can find us at Aversion TV. Please hit the like and subscribe button to get notified of all our new episodes. If you're an avid podcast listener, you can definitely find us on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Please leave us a rate and review on iTunes. It definitely helps us keep the name alive.
Yep. And make sure you leave us a comment below for whether or not you understood Henry VIII's song.
Yeah.
I'd like to know if I'm crazy or by myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
Toodles.